Yo, what's going on, y'all? What's going on, Sixer Nation? It's DFJ Hoops here, back again with another live stream. We got to recap this game, man. We got to talk about this Indiana Pacers game and the 76ers. We got to talk about it. But if you just came in, please make sure you hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's DFJ Hoops. I already got some people in the comment section. Shout out to my guy, Michael, always showing love and support. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. Salute DFJ Hoopsy. Salute, bro. Appreciate you. Tyrese Maxey, 45 points. Yeah, we gonna talk about it, bro. We definitely gonna talk about it. Shout out to T Sweezy, man. Y'all can go sub to his channel. YNW Ludamari. Y'all should definitely check him out. Celtics fan. He says change your profile picture on Instagram. It's very yeah, nah, bro. I ain't changing that. He says put the Miami Heat up or the Brooklyn Nets. You funny. Yeah, that picture, that picture tough though. I ain't gonna lie. That picture tough. But yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's just talk about this. So the 76ers Indiana Pacers game, Sunday afternoon game, which I thought the Sixers were going to lose that game because the Sixers don't typically play good in early games like that, right? I can point to multiple early games that they played in and they lost and pretty much got blown off the floor. But yesterday's game was a different situation. And heading into the game, the Sixers were down 0-2 in the season, right? They lost to the Bucks on opening night, and they lost to the Toronto Raptors. Now, this game right here, I think I gotta give Nick Nurse a lot of love. I gotta give him a lot of love because the last game I did give him blame. I did blame him for how the players came out and played. Right, they played with little to no effort. The Toronto Raptors outworked them on both sides of the floor. So I did blame him for that, but yesterday's game was much different, and I have to give him credit because the amount of energy these guys play with, the effort, hustling up and down the floor, the defense, the offense, the execution, you definitely got to give Nick Nurse his props because it's because of him. That's why the players came out there and played the way they did. But in this game right here, one of my quick takeaways was that Kyle Lowry saw a reduction in minutes, right? His minutes was significantly cut from the Raptors game and then into this game right here. Against the Raptors, he played damn near 30 minutes that night, which I don't know why he played 30 minutes that night. Maybe it was because he was playing against his former team. That's why Nick Nurse decided to play him all those minutes. But he saw a reduction in minutes. He only played he played 17 minutes, which 17 minutes compared to 30 minutes, that's a big drop off. But a lot of his minutes did go to Jared McCain, who had 17 minutes himself, and he came in, especially in those stretches where Maxey was out, and he did his best as a ball handler, as a scorer, and he also got a few rebounds as well. So shout out to Jared McCain. Coming in, doing what he was supposed to do, and helping this team. But in that first quarter, one thing that really surprised me was that Caleb Martin was starting to be aggressive, right? Caleb Martin starting to be aggressive, and he took more shots in the first half than he did against the Toronto Raptors, right? In the Toronto Raptors game, he only took 6 shots, but in the first half of this game, he took 7 shots, which showed me that he was being aggressive. He was going to the basket. He shot the 3, he didn't make it, but he was being more aggressive, right? Going to the basket and trying to play make. Now, a couple bonehead plays here or there, a couple bad passes, here or there. There was one play where he was driving to the basket and he slipped, which was funny. But yeah, he was driving to the basket and he slipped and, he turned it over. But it happened to a lot of guys, right? It happened to Maxey himself too. It happened to Kelly Oubre, who was driving using a Andre Drummond screen, and he drove and, slipped, turned the ball over, and then Obi Toppin, drove and had that, drive and dunk. But, shout out to Obi Toppin. But the Indiana Pacers, yeah, their season is not starting off the way it's supposed to start off, right? They lost to the Knicks, and then they lose to us. Now, I think they beat the Pistons, but losing to 2 teams in the Atlantic Division, that's not a good look for the Pacers, right? That's not a good look for the Pacers. a team that just came from the Eastern Conference Finals. It's not a good look for them. But the Pacers, they did play solid, right? They played solid on both sides of the floor as well. They had Maxey and check in that first half. Now, in that first half, Tyrese Maxey was not being aggressive, right? He was not being aggressive. He was not being aggressive, and it kind of looked like the defense that Indiana was playing on him. It kind of looked like he was being stifled by that defense, right? And that goes to show you the defenders that Indiana have. So shout out to Andrew Nembhard, shout out to Aaron Nesmith, Ben Shepherd, and even TJ McConnell came off the bench and he was playing some good defense on Maxey. So shout out to all those guys, but they tried to make it very, very difficult for Maxey. I think Maxey only had 7 points in that first half, and he was inefficient. He was turning the ball over. Getting called for travels, getting called for some offensive fouls, and things were not going his way, right? But that's where Kelly Oubre, he stepped in, and Kelly Oubre was taking a lot of shots. I think he took this. I think he took the most shots in the first half, right? In the first half, it was him. It was Caleb Martin, and then you had Eric Gordon come off the bench, and then giving you some solid production as well. Shout out to Eric Gordon. He was doing exactly what I wanted him to do. I didn't want Eric Gordon in the starting lineup, right? So I was glad that Nick Nurse made the change, right? He put him on the bench and then brought in Caleb Martin in the starting lineup. Now, Caleb Martin was, he was aggressive, like I said, from the beginning, offensively and defensively, right? Even though he was much undersized going up against Pascal Siakam. And Siakam is about 6'6". He's about 6'8", 6'9". And then you got Caleb Martin, 6'5", doing his best, frustrating him. There were a couple plays where he was getting switched onto Miles Turner, and he was able to frustrate Miles Turner a bit. He got Miles Turner. He got picked up some fouls. He made Miles Turner pick up a few offensive fouls, because when he got switched onto him, he was digging into his body, trying to frustrate him. And Miles Turner was throwing those elbows. But overall, that first half, I give it to Caleb Martin, and then Eric Gordon coming off the bench and doing what he does best, which was drive to the basket, shoot those threes, and then just be an offensive threat for the Sixers coming off the bench. Now, I also got to give Yabusele a lot of credit as well, right? Now, Yabusele didn't score in this game in particular, but if you watch the game, you could see what he was bringing to this team. His ability to get those offensive rebounds, it really helped the team a lot. I think he had like 3 offensive rebounds in the first half alone, and those offensive rebounds led to the Sixers scoring. It led to the Sixers picking up points from the 3. The first offensive rebound, he got it, and Eric Gordon was like 2 passes away, and they were able to swing the ball to him. And then once he catches at the top of the key extended, you already know what time it is. He's gonna swish it. And then the second one was he got the offensive rebound. He battled on that glass, fought on those rebounds, and guess what? Maxey was able to relocate to the corner, and then he was able to, kick it out to Maxey. Maxey makes that 3. And then the last one, he got it, passed it out to Kyle Lowry, and Lowry was able to make that 3. Now, Kyle Lowry also did, he helped the Sixers a lot, scoring wise and then moving the ball. He did help Maxey. He helped them a lot in that first half, taking away those ball handling responsibilities from him and allowing Maxey to be that off-ball player that he's capable of being, right? So, all in all, it helped the Sixers. It helped the Sixers very, very much with Maxey not being as aggressive. And that first half was very, very terrible for Maxey, right? It kind of looked like the same game against the Raptors and the Milwaukee Bucks. That's what it looked like. So I was kind of like saying to myself, "Oh my goodness, here we go. Maxey's gonna have a similar game." It was kind of like deja vu. Maxey's gonna have a similar game against the Raptors and against the Bucks. But I like I said, I like Kelly Oubre's I liked his aggressiveness, going to the hole. I don't like Kelly Oubre shooting threes, but when he's going to the hole, that's something that you really want to see because he's just a big body going down low and taking some of these defenders, the Andrew Nemhards, the Aaron Neesmiths, and all those other guys. Like these guys are smaller than him, so he's able to take them to the cup and he's able to finish over those guys, right? But sometimes you want him to pass it out because sometimes he might drive and might try to finish over 2-3 guys, and that's not always a good look because if there's 2 or 3 guys in the paint, there's definitely somebody wide open in the corner somewhere. So sometimes you would want him to pass when he drives because they clog the paint up, which in situations like that you just got to kick it out. But Kelly Oubre being aggressive, that really helped the Sixers. And there was this play where Kelly Oubre came off a flex screen from the corner. He came off a flex screen. It was set by Caleb Martin, and then he came off that flex screen. He flashed to the left-hand side elbow, got another screen from Andre Drummond, and then Maxey passed it off to him, and then he was able to get to the basket. I like seeing Kelly Oubre in plays like that. I like seeing him in actions like that because that really it brings the best out of him because he's able to get to the basket and finish with his size, athleticism. It's like nobody can do anything with him. So I like Kelly Oubre in actions like that. But when you allow Kelly Oubre to create off the dribble, it's just not something that I like to see. And I always say this: if Kelly Oubre got to create offense in the half court, then your offense is definitely going to be in trouble, right? It's definitely going to be in trouble because that's not what he does best. That's not his best suit. Now, speaking of Indiana on the other side, I was very, very disappointed in Pascal Siakam, right? I was very, very disappointed in Pascal Siakam. Now, I don't know if I got to blame the coach or I got to blame his teammates or I got to blame himself, but on this Pacer team, there's no question that Pascal Siakam should be the number one. He should be the number one option on this team, right? He should be the number one option. The offense has to run through him because I believe he's the best scorer on the team, not Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton is not the best scorer on that team. Now, Halliburton is a very good, point guard, right? I give him that. I mean, when I did my list, I had him as a top 5 point guard in the NBA. But to start off the season, he's not playing to the standard that I held him up to, and I don't know why. I mean, last season he averaged like 10. He averaged like 10 assists. He led the league in assists, but to start off this season, now I know it's only 3 games in, right? It's only 3 games, and the season just started, but him averaging only 4 assists a game, that's not good, right? Especially from a top 5 point guard. That's not good for him. And he should be doing a much better job than what he's doing currently, right? He was scoreless against the Knicks, right? He was scoreless against the Knicks. And then against the Sixers, he only picked up 2 assists. Now, they did move the ball, right? They did move the ball. Andrew Nemhard did get a lot of assists like that way. I think he picked up like how many, like 8 or 9 assists. So, yeah, Andrew Nemhard did his job. But Tyrese Halliburton trying to be a scorer is just not going to be a recipe for success, right? So I think Rick Carlisle got to do something about that. You definitely have to do something about that because Pascal Siakam is the best scorer on this team, not Tyrese Halliburton. So the offense needs to run through him. Now, yeah, Halliburton can initiate the offense because he's the point guard, but him taking all the shots, I just don't think it's the best thing. Now, yeah, we get it. He's the face of the franchise. He's the the Supermax contract. He had like 260 over the next 5 years, so we get it. But Pascal Siakam is a much better scorer than Tyrese Halliburton. Pascal Siakam has an inside-out game. He doesn't really shoot a lot of threes. Now, I would say that Halliburton is a better three-point shooter than Siakam, but Siakam is an overall better scorer than a Tyrese Halliburton. So the offense should run through him. And there was something that I saw throughout the course of the game that I was really disappointed. And I'm gonna get to it in a few minutes here, but let's talk about the Sixers more in the second half, and let's talk about what happened down the stretch in that game. Yeah, sorry about that. So the second half, in that third, that's where Tyrese Maxey started to heat up, right? That's where he started to heat up. Now, the Pacers did go on a run, right, in that second, in the third quarter, in the second half. They did go on a run, and the Sixers were down by, I think, 6 or 7 points. And then Tyrese Maxey goes on a 7-0 run by himself. And then he wheels the Sixers up. He puts the Sixers on his back, right, along with the other guys, right? I'm not going to say he did it by himself because he definitely had help from those other guys. So the Caleb Martins, the Kelly Oubre's, even Andre Drummond, right? Andre Drummond definitely contributed to this game in a much, much bigger way. And Andre Drummond, he finished this game with 17, not 17 points, but 17 rebounds. He completely, by himself, out-rebounded the Pacers front line, right? He out-rebounded Aaron Nesmith, Pascal Siakam, and Miles Turner. He had more rebounds than all of them combined, right? So that shows you how effective Andre Drummond can be if he's able to play quality minutes. Now, I'm saying quality minutes because the first two games, he was in foul trouble, right? He was in foul trouble, so he wasn't able to impact the game in the way that he can. But in this game right here, he wasn't in foul trouble, so he was able to play, a lot of those minutes, and especially in that first quarter, he was able to play all the way midway through the game. That's where Yabusele came in, and Yabusele did what he did. But Andre Drummond, we saw how impactful he can be on the glass. Getting those offensive rebounds and giving the Sixers some second chance opportunities. But case in point is Andre Drummond definitely helped the Sixers in the second half, and Maxey did not do this by himself, even though he exploded in that second half for 28 points. And in that third, I think he scored like 17 straight. I mean, not 17 straight, but 17 in total. But he definitely had help from other guys, right? Caleb Martin, like I said, he contributed. Kelly Oubre Jr. also contributed as well. And you had other guys come off the bench and giving you scoring as well. So it was not just Maxey doing all the heavy lifting. So we're gonna give Maxey a lot of credit, but we're also gonna recognize what his teammates did, right? You got to give Kyle Lowry a lot of love and a lot of credit as well, because he was moving the ball, he was facilitating, and there was this play where in transition to start the third, somebody got the rebound and passed it off to Kyle Lowry, and then Kyle Lowry pushed it in transition. He was able to attract all the defenders, and then he dished out this no-look pass to Caleb Martin at the top of the key, and he was able to swish it, right? So you definitely have to give him credit on that side of the floor as well. But when the Sixers were down by 7 points, that's where Maxey put the team on his back, and then he goes on a 7-0 run by himself, and then the Sixers are able to go on a 14-1 run, right? And they erase that 7-point deficit, and then they take a 6 or 7 point lead at that point. But the Pacers were able to respond, right? It's a game of runs. They're able to respond. They put together a string of stops. They're able to get stops. And at that point, Nick Nurse took out Tyrese Maxey to, reserve him or preserve him for the latter part of the game. And that really hurt the Sixers in a way, because once Maxey was gone, they did have some struggles trying to generate offense, right? Because they had a 3-minute stretch where they had no points, right? There was a 3-minute drought where they scored no points before. I think it was Kelly Oubre, or either Kelly or Andre Drummond. They got the offensive rebound and they got the putback. So that third quarter, that's what you call it. That was the Sixers. When Maxey got subbed out, that's where the Pacers started to go on their run. And that second quarter, it wasn't the Sixers, it wasn't their best quarter, and it wasn't the Pacers' best quarter as well. But the Sixers were able to, put together some stops, and they were able to limit the Pacers. But the Pacers, when Maxey was gone, that's when they started to go on their run, and they were able to make the game close. And then they finished off. They finished off strong. That's where we saw. That's where we saw Caleb Martin, slip, and then they get points off of that. That's where we saw TJ McConnell come off the bench and then, drive and kick, drive and dish. And TJ McConnell is very, very fast, right? Shout out to him, former Sixer player. He's very, very fast. He can get in that paint with the blink of an eye, and the next thing you know, he's just finishing at the rim. Smash the like button as y'all come in. Smash the like button. We're recapping the Sixers and the Pacers game yesterday. Early game yesterday to kick off the games for yesterday. That's what we're talking about. So yeah, smash the like button as y'all come in. But yeah, that's that third quarter. That's where Maxey exploded, and then heading into the fourth, Maxey continued to be aggressive. Right, he continued to be aggressive, and it was just getting to his stop. Getting to his spots, and then elevating, taking what the defense gives him, getting to the lane, finishing through contact, finishing with the floaters. Taking guys off the dribble. And the Pacers, their coverage, they had to switch up the coverages because Maxey was going off. So they started blitzing off the screens. They started to hedge and recover, right, with Miles Turner, and then Maxey was getting some of those switches onto the perimeter, and he was just taking them to the cup, right? Just taking them to the cup and finishing. He got to the free throw line a couple times, but I think what got Maxey going is he got to the free throw line a couple times, and once he saw those free throws going in, that's where he started to be more aggressive, right? Because he was able to see those easy ones go through. And sometimes that's all you need, right? Sometimes all you need is to see those free throws go in. And once those free throws start going in, that's where you start seeing players become more aggressive, right? And that's where Maxey started being aggressive, and it trended into the fourth, where he finished where he finished with 14 points in that fourth quarter alone. But in the fourth, I think that was one of the Pacers, one of their best quarters, where you saw other guys on the Pacers explode in terms of points. And there was bad calls on both sides of the floor, right? There were bad calls on both sides of the floor. Maxey got bailed out a couple times in the fourth. You see, I'm fair, right? I'm very, very fair. So I'm gonna call it how it is. I'm gonna call it how I see it. But yeah, it was bad calls on both sides. But the Pacers, they got most of those bad calls. There was a play where Maxey drove. He stopped in the paint, right? He spun trying to shoot a fadeaway, and then he spun right back, and then he got bailed out by the refs, which was a bad call because I thought Andrew Nembhard did play it. He played it very, very solid, right? He played it very, very solid, and there was no way Maxey should have got free throws off that. But nonetheless, he got the free throws, and we took it. But there was another play where Aaron Nesmith drove, and Caleb Martin swiped the ball down, right? He swiped the ball down, and the ball traveled out of bounds, and they had to go review it to see who touched it last, which if you look at the replay, yes, Aaron Nesmith did touch it last, right? But there's a new rule that I wasn't privy to until this game. There's a new rule, which something that happened in the playoffs, which was Kyrie Irving, who, when the Timberwolves played the Dallas Mavericks, there was this play where Kyrie Irving fouled Jalen McDaniels, but the ball went out of bounds, and then they gave the Mavericks the ball, which it did cost the Timberwolves to lose that game. So heading into this season, they made that change where if you review a play or a ball going out of bounds, and then there was a foul on the initial play, you can call the foul right there. I wasn't privy to this rule change until this game, and I was like, the Sixers win the challenge, but you lose the challenge because Aaron Nesmith is going to go to the free throw line for 2 free throws. So I don't know what's up with that rule, which it's not fair in my opinion. In certain situations, it's not fair, but nonetheless, the Pacers got the free throws. They got to the line, and then they were able. Aaron Nesmith, he was able to make those 2 free throws. And in that fourth, it was a back and forth game, right? They were going back and forth. Maxey was being aggressive. Kelly Oubre was being aggressive, and Caleb Martin was also being aggressive, right? Caleb Martin was aggressive throughout the course of the game, right? Going to the hole, trying to play make, trying to kick out, and also, fighting on the glass. People don't realize Caleb Martin finished this game with 12 rebounds, right? He finished this game with 12 rebounds. And that's something that I expect to see from him moving forward, right? I want to see him on the glass more. Now, I know he could do more. I mean, me personally, I think he should be the second option with Paul George and Joel Embiid out, right? Because I think he's the second among the starters, he's the second best scorer on this team, right? After Maxey, he should be the best scorer next. But Kelly Oubre, he just wants to take a lot of shots. He wants to sometimes it seems like he's the first option, right? He just goes to the basket and forgets to pass. But I think Caleb Martin should be the second option on this team, in the absence of these two players that we're missing. But I just give him a lot of credit for how hard he played on both sides of the floor. Even though he did turn the ball over on a couple occasions, but that happens sometimes. When you handle the ball, you are prone to turnover sometimes. So, but he was aggressive. And then in that in that clutch, that's where Tyrese Halliburton starting to he started to explode. He started to score. I think he finished that fourth. With Let me see right here. He finished that fourth. With he scored a few points. Right, he scored a few points in that fourth quarter, and he made some good plays. Now, it didn't result in automatic assists, but he made some plays that really helped the team, the Pacers, and they made that run. And they had they had three straight turnovers in that fourth quarter, and that's where Maxey got the ball, straight drives to the hole, and then Kelly Oubre picking off a strip, right, on Tyrese Halliburton. Right, he got a strip on Tyrese Halliburton, and then he scored. And then on the next one, Tyrese Halliburton gets switched. Andre Drummond switches onto Tyrese Halliburton, and then Andre Drummond gets the swipe down, and he gets the steal, gives it to Caleb Martin, and then Caleb Martin is able to score. And then at that point, I was just saying to myself, man, Tyrese Halliburton is choking because that's not something he does, right? Tyrese Halliburton doesn't really turn the ball over that much. He doesn't make that many bonehead plays in the game, especially down the stretch. But in a way, you could say he was choking. But the Sixers go up by 3 points, with the last seconds in that fourth. And then Tyrese Halliburton gets the ball, and then he drives up, and Kelly Oubre wasn't trying to foul him. He was trying to let him shoot that three, and I don't know why they would let him shoot that three at that point, because he was heating up on the other side. So I don't know what the thought process was to let him shoot that, but I think the reason why they did it was because if they had fouled him and he went to the free throw line and shot those two free throws, the Sixers didn't have any more They didn't have any more timeouts. So if he had made those free throws, it would have been very, very difficult for the Sixers to inbound the basketball. So, I kind of understand why they made him shoot that, but he shot it. He made it. It was a tough three, right? And then it sent the game to overtime. But the game went in overtime, and then Tyrese Maxey still took off, right? He scored 10 points in that in that overtime. And Eric Gordon had that drive and layup, and then Kelly Oubre got to the line. He split the free throws at the line, but it was a good game from the Sixers all around. And then that last play, Tyrese Halliburton gets to the free throw line, and then he misses the first free throw. Now, he tried to miss the second one on purpose in hopes to get the offensive rebound, but the Sixers had Andre Drummond in, and Andre Drummond is definitely going to secure that rebound. So that's what happened. But before Tyrese went to the free throw line, Caleb Martin fouled him, and Caleb, that was a that was a bad play, because Caleb thought the Sixers were up by 3 points. So fouling him at that point will put him on the line, and then the Sixers will have those two timeouts so they could advance the basketball. But the Sixers were only up by 2 points. So Had he had made those free throws, the Sixers would have been in a tough spot. But nonetheless, he missed those free throws. The Sixers secured the rebound, and then guess what? They play the free throw game. Maxey gets to the line a couple times, and the Sixers end up winning this game. It was very very entertaining, right, from start to finish. Considering how the Sixers started, I didn't really think they were going to win it, but in that second half, that's where I had the confidence that they were going to win because Maxey was just he was just lights out, right? Scoring only 7 points in the first half and then exploding for 28 points in the second half. That should tell you everything, right? That should tell you everything and how Maxey willed this team to victory. Now, I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna give him all the I'm not gonna give him all the praise because other guys also stepped up very very huge for this team. Even a KJ Martin, who came off the bench, was scoring and also playing some good defense, right? But I think one thing that really helped this team was that our players were not in foul trouble, so they were able to impact this game on a much higher level than they've previously done in those first two games, right? In the first two games, from the start, Andre Drummond picks up two quick fouls. Kelly Oubre picks up two quick fouls. Caleb Martin picks up two quick fouls. And that really messes up with their rhythm. But in this game right here, these guys were not in foul trouble, and they were able to play their game, play a lot of minutes, and impact this game on a much higher level. Now, Caleb Martin, like I said, he was very, very aggressive from the start, taking a lot of shots. If I look at the box score, he took 16 shots in this game, right? So that's almost triple, or let me say double. That's almost double the amount of shots he took against the Toronto Raptors. And that's what I like to see, right? I like to see Caleb Martin be more aggressive, especially in the absence of Paul George and the absence of Joel Embiid. You want to see Caleb Martin, take a lot of shots. You want to see Caleb Martin involved in the offense, and you want to see Caleb Martin making plays because he's capable of doing that. It's not like he can't do it. He can definitely do it. And I don't want to have to rely on Kelly Oubre that much because Kelly could get out of control sometimes, and he can forget that he's playing with other guys and just try to drive and try to finish over 2, 3, 4 guys, right? So that's something that I think Nick Nurse has to that's something that Nick Nurse has to always do is involve Kelly Oubre in the offense, especially with Paul George and Joel Embiid out. The second thing is that Kyle Lowry doesn't have to play all those minutes, right? Those minutes could go to Eric Gordon coming off the bench. Those minutes could go to Jared McCain coming off the bench because these guys could definitely contribute on a high level. They can definitely contribute on a high level, and they showed you that in yesterday's game, right? So Kyle Lowry playing 17 minutes, that's so perfect for him. It's so perfect for him because he's older now. He can't run as fast. He's not as quick. And you do need some of these younger guys to come. I mean, not Eric Gordon either because he's also old. But you need these young guys. You need the Jared McCain to come in and speed the game up for you. Now, the third thing is Tyrese Maxey should continue to be more aggressive, right? Tyrese Maxey should continue to be more aggressive, going to the hole and looking for his shots. Now, in this game, he went to the free throw line 15 times, right? He went to the free throw line 15 times, but I mean, some of those free throws came, in overtime at the end where they were trying to, play the free throw game and the Pacers were fouling him. So he wouldn't have gotten to 15 if it wasn't for overtime. But I see some haters disguised as Sixer fans complaining about Tyrese Maxey taking 32 shots in this game. Now, for number one, he's the best player on the team, right? Because Paul George and Embiid, they're not playing, so he's the best player on the team. So you want your best player to be aggressive. You want your best player to get it going, right? And number two, he played almost 48 minutes yesterday. So If you play 48 minutes, you're going to take a lot of shots, especially if you're the first option, trying to get it going, trying to get in any kind of rhythm. You're going to take a lot of shots if you play 48 minutes. You can go to past seasons and see guys playing 48 minutes and just look at the amount of shots they take. Even Luka Doncic. Now, I'm not comparing Maxey to Luka. I mean, Luka's much better than Maxey, but Luka has games where he only played like 34, 35 minutes, and then he took 37 shots. Right? So Maxey playing without two of his best players, you definitely want to see him be aggressive on both sides, looking for his shots, going to the hole, and getting to the free throw line as a result. Shout to the Knicks fan. Big task at hand, bro. Appreciate you. He says salute to you, bro. Salute. Yeah, we took care of the Pacers just like y'all did. Now unfortunately we didn't hold Tyrese to 0 points. Y'all did. So, but I mean, we did the same thing. We got the dub, and that's all that matters. Yeah, that's all that matters. But you got these haters disguised as Sixer fans. I told you, Maxey's not that dude. Y'all paid him 200 and whatever. He's robbing y'all. He's the next Ben Simmons. He can't get it done. Well, he put the team on his back and he put the team on his back in the second half and helped the Sixers win this game. So what can you say to that, right? I saw people after the first half trade Maxey. He's not that guy. Trade Maxey because I think he only had 7 points and he took less shots. And at that point in time, Caleb and Kelly had more points than him. So the fake fans trade Maxey. But I mean, he heard all that noise, went into second half, and exploded for 28 points. Now, did he score the ball efficiently? No. He didn't do that. But I think he's definitely going to get to the efficiency that people want to see him at. I mean, he's a guard. He takes a lot of jump shots. So holding jump shooters to 50% is not, it's not very good. And that's the issue. A lot of people think that traditional field goal percentage is efficiency, which is not. Traditional field goal percentage is accuracy. It's not efficiency, right? Traditional field goal percentage is not efficiency. It's accuracy. If you really want to know how efficient somebody's scoring the basketball, you got to look at true shooting percentage and effective field goal percentage. Now, even with those metrics, yeah, Maxey's not efficient, but I think he's definitely going to get there, right? He's definitely going to get there. He's playing against some of these teams that are focusing on him defensively, and they're doing whatever it takes to stop him. It was just this game where other guys started being aggressive, and when other guys started being aggressive, that's where the focus had to go on those other guys, right? The focus had to go on Caleb Martin because he was exploding. Focus had to go on Eric Gordon because he exploded coming off the bench, right? I think he finished with 15 points. If I'm not, he finished with 15 points. So that was the help that Maxey needed, right? Those 15 points from him. KJ Martin coming off the bench, giving you 8 points. And then you got guys in the starting lineup also giving you double figures, right? On top of Andre Drummond grabbing 17 rebounds and completely out-rebounding the Pacers front line. So that's the help that the Sixers needed. And hopefully the Sixers can keep this going into the next game. Big Tax says, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we took care of them. And like I said, Tyrese Halliburton is not playing to the standard that I held him to, and that's not good. Shout to my guy Brian Pumper. Appreciate you. Man, he says Maxey was cooking Farnsworth Bentley. Adam Silver trying to cheat again. Yeah. Maxey was he exploded. Maxey exploded in that second half. He finished with 45 points. I think he had 28 points in that second half. That was crazy. that was crazy. Quadrupling his production from the first half. The first half he only had 7 points. Second half quadrupled the production. 28 points. That's crazy. But yeah, shout out to Brian Pumper, bro. Appreciate you for stopping by. Smash the like button as y'all come in. Smash the like button. And oh yeah, I almost forgot. Now let me talk about Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam. Now after the game went into overtime, right? The Pacers, they had the momentum because Halliburton he made this big three, so you would expect him to continue to make plays in that in overtime, right? You would expect him to make plays in overtime and try to will this team to victory. And they got into overtime, and Pascal Siakam doesn't even take a shot. Now, like I said previously, I think, and not that I think, Pascal Siakam is the best scorer on the Pacers, right? So, as the point guard, as the lead guard, Tyrese Halliburton should have tried to get Pascal Siakam much, much more involved in this game. And with Pascal Siakam having the mismatch, he should have fed Pascal Siakam more in the post because he had the mismatch. Kelly Oubre, Caleb Martin, these guys are much smaller than Pascal Siakam. But Tyrese Halliburton did not try to get him involved, and trying to get the rest of the guys involved. I mean, Miles Turner took a shot, and then the other guys also took shots. Aaron Nesmith took a shot, but I think that in overtime, Pascal Siakam should have been the main person they should have went to. Right, he should have been the main person because he had the mismatch. Now, Pascal Siakam has an inside out game. Sometimes he looks to play make out of the post, post up and then kick out. But Pascal Siakam should have been the best player in this game. Right, he should have been the best player in this game. And speaking of Pascal, there's no reason why Siakam shouldn't be a top 5 power forward in the league. I'll say it again. There's no reason why Pascal Siakam should not be a top 5 power forward in the league. Because the power forward position is not that it's not too much competition at the power forward position compared to the point guard position. Brian Pumper said Ben Simmons on a 3. Yeah, it's not looking good for Ben Simmons. It's not looking good for him at all. I saw a stat that says he has more fouls than field goals attempted, which is crazy. That's crazy. But I mean, Simmons is not the Sixers' problem anymore. But I mean, I just want to see him successful, right? Any team he's on, I want to see him successful. But let me, what was I even on before I got back? Yeah, Siakam should definitely be one of the top 5 power forwards in the league, because if you take Giannis off the table, LeBron plays. I mean, he's listed at the power forward position. Jason Tatum plays power forward. Kevin Durant plays power forward. I mean, who else comes on that list? Because Evan Mobley's not better than Pascal Siakam. Some of these other guys, they're not better than him. Now, I think Banchero is making a case for being a top 5 power forward. Him, I mean, you can throw in Lauri Markkanen, but Pascal Siakam should definitely compete for a top 5 power forward. But I mean, on this team, they don't really go to him that often. Tyrese Halliburton tries to feed other guys and not go to Siakam, which I don't know why, but Siakam should always be the offense should run through him because he's the best scorer on this team. Like all around scoring, I think Siakam is. But yeah, it comes down to Halliburton. It comes down to Halliburton, right? I think he should be a much better point guard than he's been so far this season. So he might get it. He might get it to go. He might get everything back up. Or maybe last season was just a one season wonder. Who knows? But enough with the Pacers. Let me just get back to the Sixers. Um, like I said from the beginning, I have to give Nick Nurse. I got to give him his props because he had it. He had his players much better than they performed in the first. In the second game against the Raptors. Now, looking at these stats right here, the Sixers finished with 54 rebounds. The Pacers only finished with 37. Right, so they dominated the Pacers on the glass, and that was mainly Andre Drummond and Caleb Martin. Those guys were a beast. They were fighting on the glass, right? Andre Drummond, 5 offensive rebounds. Caleb Martin, 4 offensive rebounds, and then you had Yabusele come off the bench giving you 6 rebounds, right? So that really helped the Sixers a lot. It helped the Sixers a lot, and I think the Sixers getting all those rebounds helped them win this game. And in overtime, they still were getting offensive rebounds. Right. So, got to give Nick Nurse a lot of credit for having his guys ready to play in this game. You got to give Nick Nurse a lot of props as well for his rotations and not playing Kyle Lowry all those minutes like he did in the last game. And hopefully hopefully it stays the same moving forward because Kyle Lowry should not be playing 30 minutes on this team. Right? We have a rookie point guard or a rookie guard who can, do the point guard duties as well as shoot the basketball. So we have to see him get more minutes. Now, hopefully he can get 20 minutes against the Pistons on Wednesday, which we're going to talk about that game tomorrow. But yeah, I think Nick Nurse should keep doing what he's doing or what he did heading into this game. I think he should continue to do that moving forward. Even with the 2 guys out, if they come in, they should still do what they did heading into this game. And Maxey should continue to be aggressive, right? Maxey continue being aggressive. Caleb Martin should continue to be aggressive, and the other guys should also be aggressive as well. Eric Gordon coming off the bench, but these are my thoughts on the game. Whatever you guys think, you can leave your thoughts right down below. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. This was a much better game than the first 2, and hopefully the Sixers can pick up a win against the Pistons and tie the season record up at 2 apiece. Right? This was a much needed victory, and I expect the Sixers to win against the Pistons. But we're going to talk about that game more in detail probably tomorrow or maybe Wednesday because they play on Wednesday. So the Sixers have a good, 3-day rest so they can rest and, watch film and, recover from this game because Maxey played 48 minutes. So these guys have to get their rest. They have to get their rest, watch the film, see what they did wrong, right? The Sixers did win, but there was a lot of miscommunication on defense, right? A lot of miscommunication, a lot of misrotations, right? Andre Drummond got caught on the 3-point line a lot, which he probably would have finished with 20 rebounds, but he got caught on the 3-point line a lot. But, most of that was because he had to guard Miles Turner, and Miles Turner shoots a lot of threes. Miles Turner hangs out at the 3-point line, so you have to you got to keep an eye on him. I'm laughing at these comments from Newsbreak. It's just funny. But yeah, shout out to y'all watching on Newsbreak. Yeah, shout out to y'all watching from Newsbreak. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. But yeah, Andre Drummond had to deal with somebody shooting threes from the outside, so he did spend some time, covering or guarding at the 3-point line. But he still was able to finish with 17 rebounds. So you should definitely give him credit on that part. He did dominate on the glass and out rebounding the entire front line of the Pacers. That's not something that people do very, very often, right? One man getting more rebounds than an entire front line. That's not, people don't really talk about that a lot, but I mean, I know how difficult it is to out rebound an entire front line. So give Andre Drummond his props. Andre Drummond had 17 rebounds, right? And then the Pacers, Miles Turner had 4 rebounds. That's terrible, right? That's terrible. If you're a center and your guards and your forwards are getting more rebounds to you, that's very, very terrible. So Miles Turner got to do better for his team. But Aaron Nesmith had 7 rebounds, Siakam had 5, and then Miles Turner had 4. So that's 16 right there. And then Andre Drummond by himself had 17, right? Along with Caleb Martin's 12. That's 29 rebounds right there. And then Kelly Oubre gave you 8. So our front line destroyed their front line in terms of, on the glass. We demolished them. So I think this effort needs to, translate. This effort needs to translate moving forward, right? It has to, translate to other games. And even when you go up against some of the best offensive rebounding teams like the Knicks, the Raptors, the Clippers, and some of these other teams, the rebounding effort should be the same, right? The rebounding effort should be the same. And these guys have to play with the same effort night in and night out. So Nick Nurse gets all the props. And one last thing before I get up out of here. One last thing. Eric Gordon should come off the bench, right? Eric Gordon should not be starting. So the starting lineup that Nick Nurse goes with now, I think that's the best lineup. I mean, obviously without George and Embiid, this should be the best. This is the best starting lineup, and it should remain that way. Even though we are small in the front court, right? The Sixers are small. I mean, at the forward positions, they're small. With Caleb Martin being 6'5" and Kelly Oubre 6'7", they're small. But sometimes it's not about height; it's about heart. And Caleb Martin showed the most heart yesterday against the Pacers, getting more rebounds than Siakam, right? Getting triple the rebounds that getting double the rebounds that Siakam was able to grab for his team. But yeah, this week we might get some more detail on Paul George concerning his bone bruise and whether he's going to return this week or not. We will get to know about that more, and Embiid as well. Now, I expect both of them to return this week. I could be wrong, but I'm expecting them to play sometime this week. But we don't know the Sixers. We don't know what they plan. And hopefully Embiid is not dealing with any injuries. And hopefully Paul George has recovered from his injuries, and then he's able to play in the next game. But yeah, this was a great team win, great team effort. Tyrese Maxey, keep doing you. Caleb Martin, keep being aggressive. Nick Nurse, keep having your guys play at this level. Whatever you did to make them play with this much energy, just continue to do it, right? And then the rotations off the bench. I mean, I know Yabusele scored 0 points, but I think he next time he'll definitely put some points on the board next time. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. It's DFJ Hoops. DFJ Hoops. Like the video, like the live. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification icon so you don't miss anytime I release a video or go live. We cover every Sixers game on this channel. Everything Sixers, we talk about it. So if you're a Sixer fan, just join the family, man. Just join the family as we talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. But the Sixers are 1-2 in the season, and hopefully they can tie this they can pick up a second win against the Pistons. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. This was a fun one. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Shout out to my guy, Michael, who's always in the building supporting. Shout out to T. Sweezy. Shout out to Big Task. He's a Knicks fan. And shout out to my guy, Brian Pumper. And shout out to each and every person that tuned in. I appreciate you guys. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.